We are. We're back.
You caught me.
Yeah, I did. You look busy. What you doing?
Our number one fan, Mr. Brian Staley,
Oh
a
yeah.
longtime friend of mine. I grew up with him, of course. His
Hmm.
son Ryan, who turns 15 on Sunday.
15.
So
Okay.
January the 15th, he turns 15. Happy birthday! Shout out to Ryan.
Happy birthday,
And
Ryan.
then I was looking. He's like an orchestra stud. He's in ninth
At
grade.
15.
Yeah, and he plays the violin like a
Nice.
machine. So he's like
Nice.
what is it? FMEA, Florida Music Education Association. He's all state at freaking a freshman year, and then he's got
Wow.
something else. But he's like number one. And I don't want to correct Durant High School. He's like number
Okay.
one. On the orchestra. He's just a stud. He can play that damn violin, which
Yeah,
is
the devil went
really
down to
amazing.
Florida.
I mean, I
Yeah.
can't, I can't strum a guitar to anything, and he's jamming on a
Mm,
violin.
I can. I
That's
love the
cool.
guitar.
So, shout out to Ryan
Yeah.
Staley.
Happy
Happy
birthday, man.
birthday. And, I guess it's time for a beer. No.
Not at 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So then, all right. So, welcome back. It's another live
Welcome.
edition of Feed Read. I'm Paul Reed, your host, with the Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson, Jason Crawford.
Yeah, yep.
It's actually a beautiful day out. It rained like a booger this morning. And little Millie over here who's sleeping, she uh she was
How does a
freaking
booger
out
rain? Yeah.
about 5:20 this morning. A lightning bomb hit, and you
Jeez.
know she jumps up on my head and crushes me. I'll say it's partly founded.
Millie?
Oh yeah, she's down here.
Millie?
Yeah.
She's huge. The big
Oh,
fluff
I
ball.
know. The dogs and fireworks, indoor lights.
Oh yeah, man.
All right,
Oh
so
yeah.
anyway, something interesting. You sent me a text earlier today
Yeah.
about the incident that happened, a few days ago, a few weeks ago, whatever it
It's like
was,
last week, I think. Yeah.
last week in Texas. And
Mm-hmm.
you'd asked me, did I know what was going on, and I
Yeah.
didn't. But then when I actually pulled up the tape to review what you had said, I'm like, oh, I do
It's
remember
wild.
seeing that
Yeah.
on the news.
Yeah. I feel like everybody has seen it, maybe at this point, maybe not. But
Yeah, and so briefly, what happened was, and then Jason will show a video, and then we'll talk about it. Is people are in a little diner, not unlike the Waffle House, but a little bigger. So it's
mm-hmm.
just it looks like just your good old taco stand with the old 1950s or 60s or 70 benches, and one two it looks like about maybe five or six different two-seaters or people are in there, and a gentleman comes in with a what is known now as a fake gun, which doesn't matter, but he comes in and robs them
Yeah.
basically. And it appears on the way out towards the door, one of the Texans, this happened in Texans, blazes. Boom, 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 boom. Then
Yeah.
what happens is, and we'll get into why we're talking about it, and the issue, evidently the robber either stumbles, falls, makes it a couple more steps towards the door. And this is where the Texan gets up, goes over, and pops him a couple of more times when he's on the ground. So,
Mm-hmm.
why don't you show that? Show what you
Yeah.
had.
So I showed it while you were talking, and then the end. So he shoots, like, there's four shots that come out quick. One, two, three, four. That's like pop,
Okay.
pop, pop, pop.
While the
There's a
guy's
couple of
walking by.
seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of seconds and two more come out. And then I couldn't find the video in its full that has that like ending part, but I do have the screenshot that you sent me of the other things. That's what's up
Okay.
right now.
Well,
Where
bottom
he's
line,
standing
the
over
guy
him
the
with the
guy
last
gets out of his booth and walks
three.
a few feet towards him, and then blazes him again.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
then,
stands over him and
yeah,
finishes
and
him
so
off.
then when I was doing the research, the question then popped up is, a grand jury is going to investigate the incident to decide whether or not to charge the patron or the shooter
Right.
with whatever, whether it be manslaughter or murder or involuntary or negligent, not whatever they may think of. But and the first of course
Yeah.
inclination is what?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
guy's
yeah,
robbing everybody. He has a gun, and the guy, just defended everyone in the restaurant.
yeah,
So under Texas law, remember, I went to South Texas College of Law in Houston. So
yeah. Right. Yeah.
as most states, they also have a self-defense law, common sense. And
That's in the book, by the way.
yeah, oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
that you went there.
defense of others equals self-defense as well. So if you and I are at a booth, or
Oh,
and somebody's 3 or 4 feet away, and the robber is going to shoot that person 3 or 4 feet away, even
yeah,
though he's not going to shoot us, I can blaze him.
yeah. Okay.
Defense of others. That's
Yeah.
self-defense. So,
So when the guy gets up and shoots him initially, his gun is pointed toward the man at the door
oh, here's the
as he
thing.
was exiting.
The initial shots where the guy's walking by or
The
whatever,
first four, yeah.
that's
Boom, boom, boom,
that's
boom.
easy. That is
Okay.
self-defense at its finest.
See, I was concerned about that because I don't know enough about it. That I was thinking like, oh, he's on his way out the door. It's already happened. There's, like he gets shot in the back. Maybe that's not self defense. From a legal standpoint, I don't know. But
No, but and
okay,
here's why. Well, let's just keep going.
interesting.
So
Yeah, keep
the
going.
gray area, though, is literally when once the guy's on the ground, the robber's on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and then the guy gets up to go shoot him and
Yeah,
actually does shoot him, and whether it was the final shot that killed him or not, but that's where the problem comes in.
yeah. I
Now, I'm
heard
not saying
from
that
one.
problem comes in from me personally,
Right,
whether
right.
I'm
Legally,
not going to
from a
take a
legal
stand
standpoint.
one way or the other. What I'm saying is, from a legal standpoint, that's where the problem comes in for the shooter.
Yeah, it
You
it was
know,
interesting because I'd heard some sources that had said the reports that the man fell to the ground and the gun that he was holding fell out of his hands when he landed,
yeah,
and
all of
so he's
those are
no
going to
longer
be
armed,
facts
all that
that all those are facts that are going to be determined or
determined.
looked at by the grand jury. So you get into the gray area is whether the shooter actually tracked down the robber to shoot him. And I'll give you an example. In Florida, we have what's called the castle doctrine. Somebody
Right,
comes into your house, that's it. They're fair game. Okay. But if they're leaving now, they've robbed you or whatever, but they're leaving, they're going down the sidewalk, and you start blazing at them. That's that gray area where we're going to have a problem. Not we, but
mm,
the shooter's going to have a problem.
mm-hmm.
Now go back to the Dallas case. I believe it was Dallas, maybe Houston, but whatever. Might have been Houston.
This
uh,
one,
Here's what, yeah, the one we're
yeah,
talking
this is Houston, I believe.
about. Okay, Houston.
Yeah,
The shooter is going to have the argument. Look, I don't even know if I hit him when I first shot. I was so shaken up, whether I hit him or did I hit him such that he would still be in a position to use his gun on people in the
right.
Next is, okay, he's down on the ground. Is he playing possum?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Right,
Could he get back up and start shooting people?
right.
I don't know. Let's just say the guy is almost to the door. What's to stop him from turning around on the way out and trying to
Mm-hmm.
get rid of some witnesses?
Yeah,
So
right.
those are all the issues that this grand jury is going to look at.
Yeah.
Could he have jumped up and started shooting? I don't know. You know, uh,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen so many YouTube videos. I've watched several people who used to be law enforcement that are now like YouTubers, and I have watched them cover like body cam footage and things like that where this person was on drugs and they're in a police firefight with the police. They go down, they get back up, or they get shot and they just keep coming at the
right?
person.
No,
And
no.
when you're in that moment, I don't think technicalities are on the mind as much as survival is. Little details like that get lost. I know we had talked a little bit about maybe some of the differences between the law as it applies to, say, previous police officers who are retired. Would they be held to a different standard on that kind of thing? Because a lot of them are the ones I'm watching on YouTube doing their commentary, and some of them were talking about, like it's obvious that when the gun falls out of their hand, or it's obvious that they're no longer a threat. And I'm like, I don't know
Well,
that I would know it's obvious personally. Like for me,
well, that's
what's
and the answer is yes. Does it make a difference if you're a trained professional in any given situation versus a novice? And taking aside, I'll give you a different example. You and I are in a car, we're going down Highway 60 and we see a horrific crash and somebody gets chunked out the windshield, bodies are laying all over. And
okay?
you and I, who are not doctors, nurses, medical practitioners, go to render aid to these
Okay.
people. And we do the best we can, but maybe we do a few things wrong. All right.
Right. Okay.
And so forth. Well, Florida has a good Samaritan law that means basically if you try to help somebody and you act reasonable given your education, knowledge, experience, training, and so forth, and a bad thing happens, well, you can't be held responsible.
Mm,
You
mm-hmm.
know,
Okay.
you do the best you can given your knowledge, experience, and training.
Right. Okay.
But let's just say the guy behind us is an orthopedic surgeon or a neurosurgeon or just a medical doctor, nurse, or something with experience, training, education, and knowledge.
Okay.
Well, they may very well or would be held to a different standard than you and I because they have training and experience.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
the gentleman, I don't know if he's a gentleman, but the guy, the shooter in Houston,
Don't know if it's a
it would
gentleman.
be what is his education, training, experience when it comes to situations like this, versus whether or not it was a police officer with education,
Right.
training, and a lot of experience.
Okay.
Those factors will make a difference.
Understood. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. I can see that.
here's and let's just shift. Okay, so that's it, and that's that. That's what they're looking for. Just a little background.
Okay.
So, Florida, we have, of course, a self-defense law.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. And before 2005, because 2005 is when Stand Your Ground was enacted.
Okay.
So before Stand Your Ground, in Florida, it's called the common law, but basically, unless you're in your house, that's the castle doctrine. You come in my house, you're fair game. So unless you're in your house, you had a duty to retreat, meaning to try to get away before using deadly force. Example,
Okay.
you and I get in a road rage incident, you're in front of me, you stop your car, you get out, I get out. I have a duty to try to run away from you, basically,
Okay.
to
Okay.
retreat. And the doctrine says, it's not a doctrine of self-defense. What did one of the appellate courts says? It basically says, as stated earlier in our appellate decision, a combatant had to retreat to the wall before using deadly force, meaning you had to go until you couldn't go no more, and now you had to do what you had to do, use deadly force.
Interesting.
All right, well, whichever legislative individual or body, they didn't like that. I'm thinking they think, hell with that. You ain't got to be
Yeah. No. Yeah. I was
no,
watching. Yeah.
put
Okay.
it this
Yeah.
way. We don't
You
like
don't have
that.
to put yourself in harm's way. I mean,
You
that's
don't even have to retreat under
yeah.
the
You are.
Stand Your Ground law.
Yeah.
They eliminated the duty to retreat. You ain't got to retreat anymore. You get out of your car, get out of mine, you start walking to me. Thanks for coming, Jason. Have a nice life. It's
Yeah.
fixing to end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a presumption under the stand your ground law that if you're in you're a dwelling, a building, a residence, your home, or your vehicle, there's a presumption that you're justified in using deadly force.
Okay. I heard this lady on YouTube. She's a Southern lady. She goes, honey, if the bow wows don't get you, the pew pews will. So you just need to keep on walking.
Yeah. It says, let's see, the person. Okay, so here's the thing, though, and
Yeah.
I'll give you an example why this was a problem. The
Yeah.
person reasonably believes that such force is necessary to prevent imminent death, great bodily harm to himself or another, or to prevent an imminent commission of a forcible felony. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a good old boy, let's call him, up in Pasco County a few years ago, right? And there was his apartment complex, and there was a ruckus going on in the parking lot, fights, shots, whatever.
Okay.
Somehow, some way, the shooter or I forget if it was a shooter, but the bad guy comes knocking on his door.
Okay.
Okay. And he shot him and he killed him. And then the cops come and he's talking to him, telling him what's happened. And they were like, well, and I forget the circumstances. It might have been a smaller individual or something. But either way, they said, well, were you scared of this person? Were you for fear of your life? Hell no. I wasn't scared of that son of a bitch. He won't hurt
Oh,
me. Guess what?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that actually raises one of the questions I wanted to ask you about the Houston thing. Maybe one of the last questions or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, After the incident, before the police arrived, he left. He gave the money back, like everybody kind of
Yeah, I saw
gave it.
that.
He didn't stick around for questioning. He just left before the police even got there.
Mm.
Contacted a lawyer, and I guess is communicating through the lawyer. Not that this is going to constitute legal advice for anybody who may be watching, but what do you think of that? Like, was that wise? Not
Well,
wise?
I
Do we
mean,
wait and see?
again, yeah, no, here's the deal. Uh, just from a 58-year-old individual, you shoot somebody, then you get up and you shoot them, then you
Hmm.
start thinking, did I do something wrong?
Hmm.
And I'm going to leave. I don't know what he was thinking.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'm going to leave because or he just panicked.
Yeah.
But my suggestion, if and I carry a gun, I do. My
Yeah.
suggestion would be you stick around and you say, look, officer, I have just shot someone and who is dead. Um, no offense, but I'm shaken up and I want legal counsel. I
Mm.
invoke my right to remain silent and I want a lawyer. Do not
Okay.
say a
Yeah.
word.
Don't say anything.
Period. That's what if you're in an unfortunate situation, even if you're 100% justified, 100% right, 100% did the right thing, I don't
Hmm.
care.
Yeah.
Look, officer, I just shot somebody. I want to talk to a lawyer. I want to invoke my right to remain silent. Period.
Sure.
That
Yeah.
doesn't make you look guilty. That doesn't mean you're guilty. Actually, to me, that means you have some freaking common sense and
Common
realize
sense.
you just killed somebody and you better have professional guidance
Yeah.
work helping you through this situation.
Sure. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. What else?
Okay.
I did some
Yeah,
more
I
highlights.
wanted your take on that because
Yeah.
that was an interesting thing that happened at the end. I was curious about and wanted to hear what your thoughts were on
Yeah. So that's, yeah.
it.
So your stand your ground. Basically, what it did is abolish the duty to retreat, and it allows you to
Florida.
basically
Florida.
use deadly force. If you feel that you or someone else is an imminent, danger of severe bodily injury or death. So,
Got you.
I'm not going out there because we saw the case here in Florida, I believe. Remember a few years ago where a guy parks in a handicap spot, goes into the you can Google this, goes into the little convenience store. He comes out, and another guy who's often at that store just hanging out for whatever reason confronts him.
Hmm.
You shouldn't be parking in the handicap, this, that, and the other. The one individual pushes him. Okay, and this is where it gets a determination what happened. But the guy pushes him, he falls down. The guy's just standing there, and it just the way I saw it, remember. So he wasn't coming for the guy that's on the ground. He just pushes him and he's standing there. And the guy whips out his gun, blazes him, and kills him. If I'm
Mm.
not mistaken, they found the shooter guilty because
Mm.
he was not in fear of imminent, threat of imminent bodily injury or whatever the terminology.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. See that
imminent death or great bodily harm.
in the heat of the moment, that stuff is so
Oh, that's the kicker.
tricky because I
That's the
went to the
problem.
convenience store one night. It was like I don't know, 3 a.m. I was pulling an all night or something. Wanted to grab an energy drink and power through it. And I go to the convenience store, and on my way in, I'm getting funny eyes by this guy. And on my way out, they like stop me and like pull their guns. And I still don't know how I managed to talk my way out of just getting out of that situation and get in the car. But technicalities were the last thing on my mind when there's a gun pulled on you like that. It was just,
Well, that's kind of what sucks is because, slow motion Monday morning quarterbacking, that's really not the
yeah,
way it should work. But
yeah,
that but that's what happened. I remember because it went on for several days, if not weeks, where the news would just slow it down. See, he wasn't moving. He was just standing there. And like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
And
know,
hyper
yeah,
select
that's
and right.
I agree with you in my opinion, but there were more factors. I think this guy, and I don't know. So what the news outlet portrayed it as, he was looking to shoot somebody and got the opportunity. I think that's
Barbara
kind of
asked a
what the
question.
jury heard and ultimately probably decided why
Yeah.
they convicted him.
If the guy had stayed around, I'm guessing is the context for this, but Barbara asks, can they arrest you right there before all the facts are revealed if you do shoot someone?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, they can arrest
Take
you.
you into
Let's just
custody.
say there was, by way of example, there was a Tampa Bay Lightning player a few years ago, late in Atlanta. He turned the corner and hit the curb.
Okay.
They arrested him for DUI. Now, mind you, he had 0.0 blood alcohol.
Okay.
So he ultimately the charges were dropped, but 2, 3 in the
Okay.
morning, big guy, hits a curb, you got arrested. So yes, they
Hmm.
could have arrested him right then and there.
Hmm.
Now, knowing
Interesting.
Texas, they probably would not have, you know, uh, given the fact that there were witnesses saying this guy was robbing the store. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they could have. But again, of course, nobody wants to get the cuffs slapped on them.
Yeah.
Nobody
Right.
wants to go to jail. Nobody wants to get fingerprinted, strip searched, all of those things that can happen when you're arrested. But I got news for you. What you don't want is to be convicted because you didn't listen to what I told you.
yeah.
Ask
Yeah.
for a lawyer and keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, man. Wow.
Yeah. Because
Heavy topic today, man.
arrest is one thing, going to prison for the rest of your life is
It's
another.
different. Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
Especially if the greater context was trying to do the right
well, you
thing.
got to remember,
Right.
again, most people only see police shows. They don't realize how well, by you not talking, it makes you look guilty.
Sure. Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
What it
Yeah.
makes me is smart.
Yeah.
And by you asking for a lawyer makes you look guilty. Bullspit with a
Yeah.
SPIT. It makes
Yeah. I
me look
heard you. I got
smart
it.
and
Yeah.
I'm protecting myself. So
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it from you. You should respect the fact that I have the constitutional right not to talk. You should respect the right that I
Mm-hmm.
have a lawyer and leave me, and you should respect the right that I just shot somebody. Leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, a little
Woo.
deep topic for today, but
That's a heavy one for a Friday.
there are a lot of
Yeah.
people out there that have concealed weapons permits,
mm-hmm.
and so certainly if
Mm-hmm.
it's do or die, well, don't die, but
Yeah.
stick
Yeah.
around, don't leave, and
But
and
I
hope
think
it
this is
never
definitely raising
you
awareness of the
never
topic
have to shoot anybody
for a
because
lot
I
of
got
people.
news for you.
Yeah.
You know, certainly there's probably a small percentage of people in America that carry their guns and can't wait for somebody to screw around, screw up, and get themselves shot. But the great
Probably.
majority of
Yeah.
people, like you and me, just leave us alone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't leave me alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't come
Yeah.
into my church and start blazing. Don't come into my Walmart or my Target or my mall and
Yeah.
start blazing. Don't get out of your car and start blazing.
Yeah.
You
As
know,
it turns out, the gun wasn't even real. The guy's gun wasn't even real.
Oh,
It was
that
a
came up. Just so you
BB
know,
gun.
that doesn't matter at all. That
Right. Right.
that
Right. Right.
that plays zero into it.
It's a
Now, wait,
perceived threat, right?
that's a good point though.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you watched the video, but at some point he picks up the gun and you can watch it. He
You could watch it.
realizes it's fake and he throws it against the wall.
Yeah.
That's when he may have panicked and said,
Right.
oh bleep, I just
Right. 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 Right.
killed
Right.
somebody who
Yeah.
didn't have a weapon."
Right. Right.
Well,
Right.
if you don't know that doesn't matter,
Yeah.
then you may panic.
It'll be interesting to follow that and see how
Well,
that
that's
comes
to
out.
me, if I'm his defense lawyer, I utilize that. I say, look, he panicked.
Sure.
He
Yeah.
didn't know that the fact that gun wasn't real mattered not.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, And by way of example, now, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, a lot of these fake guns, BB guns, pellet
Oh, they
guns,
look real for
well, they
tactical
have
shooting.
the little
Oh,
orange nozzle
airsoft,
on the
airsoft. I don't
barrel,
believe are
and so
required to
a
do.
police officer knows that's not a real gun.
Yeah. I don't believe airsoft guns are required to have that though. There's a lot. It's because they use a lot of airsoft guns in tactical
Oh,
training.
I don't know what's required, what's not, and I'm not trying. I'm
Yeah.
just saying the fact that the gun was fake, had nothing to do with
Yeah.
you being able to shoot somebody, but it
Right.
may have been why he panicked
Yeah. I could
because
see that.
he did. Well, they bleeped it
Yeah.
out. But he did give the old F bomb,
Yeah. I
the
saw
S
him. He
bomb,
was
and so he
pissed.
said
Yeah.
he thought
Yeah.
he might have thought, and I can't think for this man.
Like,
Think,
yeah,
oh, I'm
exactly.
screwed.
I'm
I
screwed.
just
Yeah.
shot a man who didn't have a weapon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, uh,
Yeah. I
little
could see
piece of
that.
advice to the defense lawyer in Texas. If you don't know what you're doing, you may want to incorporate that into your argument. That's
Yeah.
a freebie from Read and Read.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, all right. Well, it's going to be chilly this weekend, I
I can't
believe.
wait.
Let
Yeah,
me
I'm
see.
excited. I'll get to
Paul
wear my
Paul
read and
Delgado
read.
Reed's going to give you a weather update tomorrow. Tomorrow, partly sunny, 43 low, 52 high.
Nice.
Sunday, 38, 59. Monday, by the way, what's Monday tonight, Jason?
Monday night.
Monday night.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
right. The Buccaneers, baby, open
okay,
up the
yeah, football.
preseason
Okay,
against
football.
your Dallas Cowboys.
Nice. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
I was
that's
gonna
going to
say
be,
is the day after Ryan's birthday. Happy birthday again, Ryan. But I
yeah,
just
happy birthday, Ryan. All right,
football.
Jason, take us out.
You got it.
Oh,
What?
take us out.
Okay.
Ah,
Oh,
look who
Millie.
it is. All right, back to me.